Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make a bow for Bluebell's dress. So all I've done is I've taken a long piece of fabric, which is the matching fabric which goes with her dress, or the coordinating one, and I've cut it just over 8 inches. It's supposed to be 8 inches by 2.5 inches. You're going to have it that way up, so you've got your pattern facing up, and you can place that one in like that, and this one, when you put it in, you want to fold it back on itself a little bit, just like that, okay? And then put the other one in and fold it so that it's actually laying across the top, and then you're just going to stitch down here and down here. Okay, do a little back stitch and straight to the end. A little back stitch. Okay, that's that side. Sorry, I had another piece I was working on that there. Alright, and then we're going to come to the other side and we're just going to do exactly the same again. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we've got our little fold here, so we're just going to chop the corners 1 and 2, just so that we get a nice corner on them both. There you go. Okay, and then we're going to, where we've got our open piece, we're just going to fold it all back over. It just takes a minute, just a little bit more fiddly than anything. Alright, so fold that one. Right, I'm just going to get something with a blunt end. I'm just going to take that in there and I'm going to push out my corners. 1. There we go. So you've got a square like that, and I'm just going to take this to the iron and give it a little press. So this is life. Okay, I just took it to the iron, touched it with the iron, and I cleaned the iron the last time I used it when I made the dress. Somebody else has used it on something and it's burnt it. So what I'm going to do is use it this way around, because you're not going to see it, because I'm going to put lots of things on the top of it. It just seemed a shame to waste it, and I haven't got that much fabric left after doing all the other bits and pieces which I had. So I'm going to use this way around, okay? So that's my life. So, and the other thing I did was I just went along and I folded a piece of fabric in half and I just cut it down like that. And I'm just going to go along, then I ironed it so it's flat. And then I'm just going to go, so it should look like this when it was on, and then so I just ironed it so it went that way, and I'm just going to cut off this excess, this stuff here. You're not going to see any of this. I just want it so that I can hold my whole thing in place. I'm just going to cut that all the way. You won't need to do it all the way because you only need a small piece for it. There we go, that'll be big enough. So as you can see, you can't see any of that stitching, and when it goes on you won't see any of it at all. So we're going to just take a needle and thread. Now if you want to, you can use hot glue to do this. I just want to use it with a needle and thread. I'm just going to put it up into the centre of the bow like that, and I'm just going to wind. I'm going to sort of scrunch it first so it's in the middle like that, okay, and then I'm going to wind it around. Okay, I would have done another one if I wasn't going to be putting loads of stuff on it, but because I'm putting loads of stuff on the top I'm not going to bother, and then I'm just going to poke my needle through and tie a little knot on the back. And obviously when you do yours will make it be look much nicer, and it won't have a great big burn in it. Okay, 1. I always like to do 2 knots if I can. And 2. There we go. Snip that off. No, leave that on, because then we'll just take this piece and we'll pop that on as well, and I'm just going to stitch that on in place there so that holds in place. What I want to do is just grab a piece of it there, stitch that piece there, and stitch that piece, so I've just got a piece like that on there. So I'll stitch this piece on first here. Hopefully you can see this. Just do a few stitches in this piece. It's not my day, is it? Just stitch that across there. Okay, and I'll just bring this piece around and we'll just stick that over, and then I'll cut it off and then I'll stitch it. And when I do it, I just like to just fold it over like that. There, so it's sort of like all the ends are caught up inside like that. Okay, I'm just going to stitch it on. And there, okay, so you've got your little bow. And what I want to do now is just to fluff it up a bit. There we are, like that. So you've got your little bow like that. Just going to tie a couple of knots in the back here. So just tie a couple of knots. One, just cut that off. Then I've got a piece of lace which I had left from making the dress, and I'm just going to gather it all the way along. Just use my piece of cotton and just gather it along. So just do stitches in and out very quickly to the end. Okay, pull that in. And then what we're going to do here, if I can grab it at the end, got it, that's it. And then we're just going to take a needle and just tie a knot with this. This will give you like a little round shape, like that. One, and another one. There we go. Okay, remove that. So the next thing we want to do is make this into a sort of like a rosette type bow. So we're going to pop up in a stitch in there. I'm going to fold it over once, and we're going to put a stitch into it on the back like that, just to hold it. 1 and 2. Okay, and then we're going to do another one. Is that actually holding it? Yeah, that is. On that side, and then just bring it back and make sure you're roughly where you want it to be. Yeah, that's about right. So I'm just going to put another stitch in here. I'm going to go through the back there and then take it right through again. There we go. And that's that, and then we're going to come up and we're going to go across, and we're going to give it a little twist in the back like that, and then we're going to pop it in just like that, and you want it to be roughly the same sort of size as that one there. Okay, and put another stitch through all the layers, and again out to there. Okay, and then the last piece, again the same sort of sizing, yeah, a bit there. So come through here. There we go. And then back in through there. Like that. Okay. And that's going to go on like that. There. So you can have it on this way round. Like that. And I will get rid of this extra piece on the end. Here. And I'm going to cut it in a bit of a diagonal. I don't want it fraying. You can burn the ribbon if you're worried about it fraying before you start, but I'm not going to do that. So that's going on, so I'm going to pop that one on there and stitch it onto this piece here like that. I'm going to need a couple of stitches to hold this in place for a moment because we've got small things to go on it. That one on through the centre. There we go. I'll just hold that in place there. Okay, right, so that's that there. So I got this, but it's not, it doesn't look right, so I've got this organza ribbon instead, and I'm going to pop that just on the back, and I'm going to stitch that so that that is hanging down like that. So I'm just going to poke my needle right through the centre like that. So that's holding on nicely, and I'm just going to pop it in here into that centerpiece, and I'm going to just put a few stitches through the middle of the organza. I'm going to do it in that centerpiece there because that's going to give me a little bit more, it's not going to pull on the ribbon so much if it does get pulled by a child or whatever. just do 4 or 5 stitches in that, and I'll do exactly the same in the other piece. There we go, and the same in this one. Just sort of hang down like that, that's hanging nicely. Come back to the centre again with my needle, push it through. Okay, that's gone through. Okay, and then we're just going to stitch on this little piece which I've made here. I'm just going to stitch it in through the centre. There we are. Like that. And I'm just going to put a few stitches in, but I'm not going to go all the way through. I'm just going to stitch it to that front piece there. Save out my hands trying to pull it all through. A few more stitches in that one just to hold it in place. Take a little bit of the thread and just, can you see this piece here? I'm just going to stitch along it just to give it hold those 2 little bits there at the end where it keeps coming undone. Just going to just put a stitch in there like that, and then just pop a stitch in there, and then I'll just go back to the centre again. Alright, and don't pull that piece, just keep that nice and loose. There we go, alright, that's it, look, keep that nice and loose like that. There. So that's sitting on there beautifully, so this is what we're up to now. So I've just been around and put several nice strong stitches into it, right through from the back, straight into the front. So that's all held together nicely now. And I'm just going to put my last little thing on, which is going to be, I found a little heart, which I think will look lovely. So I'm just going to get my needle in so that it's coming into the centre at the top here. Just put that in there. I want it sort of to come in about here, I would say, at the top of the heart. Pop it in. Now, if you're doing this for a small child, you must make sure that you do it really strong and hold that bead in, because you don't want a child taking it out and putting it into their mouth, and I wouldn't give any of my dolls to a very young child. So I would be worried that, you know, just in case, because obviously they will have small bits, so just be really careful. So I'm going to put in about 4 or 5 stitches just to hold it in place. Okay, so I've got my dress. So I want you to tell me whether you think it looks better before or after. So you can tell me that in the comments what you think. I think it might be too fussy for some people, but I do like a bit of fuss, especially seeing it's going to be a party dress for Bluebell. Okay, so I'm just going to stitch this on, and you probably want quite a few stitches on there just to hold that in place. Okay, so get that stitched on, knot it up, and then you should be finished. So there you go. I hope you like this activity. It's quite a fun one. I will put it on Bluebell and let you have a look what she looks like. So all I've done is I've pulled her hair back here just a little bit like that, and then I placed a ribbon in this side and a ribbon in this side. It looks really sweet, I think. It goes in with the dress really well, and it just looks like she could be going to a party or something like that. I'm really pleased with that. So here she is. I'm going to stand her up so you can see her. There she goes. I think she looks really nice. I hope you like it. Let's pan back so you can see her all together in her dress and everything. There we go. I think that looks really pretty. I hope you like this video. Goodbye.